I don't do intros. How you guys doing today? Doing alright today. This is take 2 of this video because I had my microphone muted the entire time because I'm an idiot. Anyway, welcome to Captain Dirty Jarrett, the Jar Pirate build. It's a fun little build that I've created. He is currently level 60. If you want to see all my stats, fashion, equipment, weapons, anything that I used in this video, all of that will be at the end of the video. If you want to stay tuned for the invasions and just see what the build does, happy to have you. Like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Anyway, let's talk about this build. So currently he's at level 60. This guy is just melting in this fire pot right here. I'm trying out a new little thing that I've discovered recently, which is the power of editing. And I, you know, I ain't very good at it, but I'm trying my best. And I hope you guys like it. Just a little something extra you guys can look at while you hear me rambling about builds that I'm putting together and whatnot. So yeah, the weapons for this build. He uses 2 curved swords. One of them is the Gross Messer, which is fire infused with flaming strike. The other one is the Falchion that has Stormblade on it, which is heavy infused. I'm going for a lot of strength based things here because this build is a strength build purely, and it'll be good to have the curved swords scale off of strength. If you guys don't know, fire actually does scale off of strength in this game, as well as the heavy infusion, of course. And one really fun thing, which you see me using right here, which is just absurdly fun about this build, is the jar cannon. The jar cannon is insane. I love this. I love it so much, man. This build shines where you can just sit down and just, you know, hunker down and blast people from afar, harass them with the jar cannon. This thing does upwards of like 500 damage sometimes, and it, you know, that's a whole flask they have to use because you jar cannon them in the face. So yeah, the reason why he's a jar pirate is because he uses throwing pots, and the thing about throwing pots is they get boosted by the helmet that I'm wearing, which is the jar cannon, of course. And I think the talisman is called the Jar Companion Talisman, so it's pretty decent. And it'll boost your jar damage up, and I think I have the flame tier in my physic that's also boosting my fire damage up, as well as the strength knot tier to boost my strength even further and make my weapons do more damage. And something else I'm using that you just saw right there is the spark aromatic. I've never really used perfumes or throwing pots really before in the past, so this build is a nice little thing that I'm getting used to, really. I don't really know what I'm trying to say here. This clip is pretty fun. I get a triple fire pot throw, and then someone gets launched off the cliff by an abductor, which is, I'm kind of spoiling the clip, but it's I don't know, it's a really funny clip. I really like it. So yeah, the throwing pots I'm currently using are the fire pot, which, by the way, here it comes. Give it a second. Here it comes. There it is. Oh my god, they all got nailed. And then these guys try to challenge the abductor, and the abductor like literally just boots one of them off the cliff. But yeah, so all the consumables I'm using: lightning pots, spark aromatic perfumes, the volcano pots, which I think are just the best pots in the game, fire pots, giant's flame pots, I think they're called. This guy just did not stop pressing L1 again. Poor guy. And the other weapon that I'm using on this build, of course, is the rusted anchor. You can't be a pirate unless you use the rusted anchor, of course. I've tried it with all kinds of Ashes of War. My favorite one to use, I think, is the uppercut. But just because it's fucking hilarious to launch people into space, which you'll see me launch some people into space a little bit earlier or a little bit later on in the video. However, I don't think it's the best Ash of War to use for the anchor. If anything, you know, you'd probably want to use like Sword Dance. I think the one that I have right now is Spinning Slash. Spinning Slash seems to work pretty nicely on the Anchor. I've tried all kinds of things. I've tried Stone Stomper. I haven't tried Storm Assault yet. I think I might try that one out. You guys will likely see this build in the future. It is, I think, the funnest build that I have right now for invading. It's absurdly fun to invade with. Like, literally 90% of the fun of this build is just sitting down somewhere and throwing things at people and just seeing them struggle. These guys are so afraid to leave this room, yet they stay in line of sight of the jar cannon to get blasted. I don't know what the thought process there. You're just losing your flask. That's all you're doing. You're just losing your flask to me blasting you with the damn jar cannon. One bad thing about the jar cannon though is that it does get stuck on the stairs or on objects in front of you a lot of the time. Also, if you're like on ground level with someone, the fucking depth perception is like really hard to get right. Like, often than not, you're gonna send your explosive bullets just right past someone. And you know, you want to hit around them. You don't want to hit like past them or directly on them because it'll probably go through them and something like that. Speaking of which, I wish I had Great Lightning Bolts. I don't yet on this build. This character is only level 60. He hasn't killed Morgott yet, so the only thing I'm really using on the jar cannon is the explosive. Are they just called explosive bolts? I think they're just called explosive bolts. But ideally you want explosive bolts and you want Great Lightning Bolts as well. I don't have them yet because I have to kill Morgott to get into the mountaintops of the giants to go get the merchant that's there that has them. You would never think that you would shoot 20 explosive bolts out of a jar cannon during an invasion, but I've done it multiple times already, and it sucks running out of ammo for the jar cannon, because it's like, man, I was doing so well blasting these people with this damn cannon, and now I can't use it no more. I have to go in. I don't know, just messing with consumables in general on this build has been really, really fun. The throwing pots, of course, getting boosted by the jar helm and the jar companion. I do believe there is a talisman. I think it's called the Perfumer's Talisman, actually, that boosts the perfumes. Actually, I hear that it only boosts one perfume, and I think it only boosts the Spark one, which is the one I'm using. But of course, I didn't want to use a talisman slot on the one consumable that I'm using, right? I'd rather use it for the companion jar talisman or whatever. Double teabag, by the way. So yeah. Man. I'm not used to these long videos, man, where I'm just having to talk a lot. Yeah, it's rough. Hello, refresher. It's rough, man. I'm not at all used to this kind of video making. I do hope you guys are enjoying the editing though. The editing has been a fun experience for me. It's not something that I'm used to doing. I'm not very good at it, but I'm trying my best. The good editors are always ones that have like eye for things like that, right? I don't really have an eye for it. I'm just kind of winging it as I go. And thankfully the program that I'm using is pretty easy to use. You know, you guys can let me know if you like these kind of edits, because it does take a long time to do it, right? And I don't want to be doing it if you guys don't like it. I also need to just shorten up on these videos, man. I did not expect this video to be this long. I just kind of invaded a ton with this character because I was having so much fun. And then, of course, I ended up getting too many clips, but that's just the way of life, you know? I'd rather have too many clips than not enough, right? Because that means I was just, I was out here gaming on these people, right? Look at this damage from the volcano pots, man. That's why I say that volcano pots are like the best pot in the game. If someone just like stands in them, they lose a ton of health. Especially at these low levels, man. I do plan to take this character a little bit higher into the game. I already have another character which has not been showcased on the channel yet. It is a Black Knife Assassin that I'm gonna do some stealth invasions with. It should be fun to do that. But taking my time with that one, because that one you gotta be a lot more crafty, a lot more patient, right? It mainly focuses on people not seeing you and then you walking up behind them and backstabbing them or something like that, or getting a parry off like that. It uses misrecord plus dagger talisman and concealing fail, stuff like that. You guys will see that character soon. I hope I play them more in the future, but I'm not sure if that kind of play style is for me. I just kind of want to do it just for the one time, you know? This guy right here, the sorcerer, has like 0 HP, and I launched this guy into space. Look at that. You can't tell me the uppercut moveset isn't the best. So fun fact, that uppercut is from Dark Souls 3. I think it's on my favorite weapon. I keep thinking about Dark Souls 3 recently, and I think the Black Knight Greatsword is my favorite weapon in that game because it's just so good. It has such a good moveset, strictly for PvP. Like, oh my god, it has amazing R2s. Its weapon art was the launch into space. I mean, it was just, I love the Black Knight Greatsword. Just getting a bunch of Dark Souls 3 nostalgia recently. I think a lot of these weapon arts and Ashes of War, which were reused from Dark Souls 3, I think a lot of them are just like underrated because they were really good in Dark Souls 3, especially on the weapons that they were on. Like Spin and Slash, for example, the one I was talking about earlier. If a weapon in Dark Souls 3 had that, it was insane, because in Dark Souls 3 there was true combos. In Elden Ring there's very few true combos because there's not enough things in the game that does enough poison damage to get a true combo. But in Dark Souls 3 a lot of things did true combo, and if you R1 someone, you can immediately spin and slash them and they would take literally all of that damage and die. It was insane. I guess I'm getting a little bit nostalgic because of there's a guy later on in the video, his name is Ashenborn, and he was a really good player, and he ended up having a nice little fight, and I won in the end, but you know, at the same time his name was Ashenborn, and I was thinking about Dark Souls 3, and now I'm thinking about Dark Souls 3, and now I'm thinking about the weapon arts from Dark Souls 3, and I honestly do think that the Black Knight Greatsword was my favorite weapon in that game. And I've stated that twice now. So yeah. These people, by the way, were just content with having a shootout with me. Like, this guy came up to this level and he still like just stayed there. Didn't want to come fight me. He would rather sit there and shoot me from afar, which is fine, but at the same time I have a cannon and you have little bits of magic. Mine goes a little bit farther, right? Then his friend came up and Bloodhound fanged me there. So something I have to get used to with this build is that my flasks are not in the consumable bar right there. They are, I have to press triangle and then up and then or right to either get a mana or a health flask. And I'm Mr. Fumble Fingers at times, man, and I fuck everything up. So especially when I'm like running away from pressure and whatnot. Like it's tough. It's tough. But I think the more I play the build, the more I get used to it. This guy got absolutely sniped, by the way. And here's another good fight with another good player. This Phantom was pretty good, man. His friend not so much, but the Phantom itself, he was pretty good. Yeah. I wonder, like, if people get mixed up by the Spark Aromatic versus Catch Flame, right? because they kind of look similar, but they work kind of differently. I'm pretty sure the Spark Aromatic does like 0 poise damage, but the Flaming Strike does a ton of poise damage. You know, the Spark Aromatic does a good amount of damage too. If you had the Perfumer's Talisman on, it would do even more. But like I said, I don't really need it on this build. I'd rather have things like the great, what's it called? The Jar Companion Talisman, something like that. Something like that. It's called something like that. Here's something that I didn't like about Elden Ring. So in Dark Souls 3, curved swords were like insane. One-handed curved swords. But in Elden Ring, they're pretty shit. Just one-handed ones. You really have to power stance them to get them to actually get the good moveset, which is a little bit disappointing. But you know, this is my one and only curved sword build. I did not have it previously, but yeah. Sorry, I'm just kind of watching this fight right here. This guy's like outspacing me like crazy, and then the host is just being the host. I can't believe I messed that up, man. I'm pretty sure I ended up killing the Phantom first here, and then I ended up killing the host. So I've invaded at a few different levels now. I've invaded at 200, I've invaded at level 60, and I'm planning on taking this build to 90 because I already have a build level 60, which is the Black Knife Assassin that I talked about earlier. I've also invaded at 166 too with my Moonlight Knight, and honestly, I think the Moonlight Knight had like the best invasions for like pure fun factor. Here's Spinning Slash, by the way. A little bit slow on big weapons, but it shouldn't be because it's a big weapon. So yeah, I've been getting when I say like bad invasions, I mean like so when you invade, right, you strictly would like to invade co-opers, people who are going through the game together and stuff like that, right? Because your objective as an invader is to stop them from getting to the boss. That's your objective. That's your one and only objective. People can say it's to kill the host. I mean, yeah, that's what you're doing, but realistically, you're an obstacle in the way for them. You're an enemy on the map. That's what you are. That's how I like to see it, anyway. At least my perspective of it. So when I say bad invasions, I mean like straight up gank squads. So something that people do in this game that is kind of scummy is they will get 2 friends or 1 friend and a hunter, and they will turn on the Taunter's Tongue, and then as soon as they get 1 invader, they will turn off the Taunter's Tongue, which is something that they can do, and it shouldn't work like that, but that's how it works, unfortunately. So they sit there all day long and they gank invaders who they purposely summon into the world, right? And I mean, if you want a 2v3 or if you want a 2v2, that's fine, but like to turn off the Taunter's Tongue is kind of scummy, and I kind of hate it, and I really hate those invasions because like they're all the same. You never run into any cool, unique builds. It's always one guy with a big weapon or 2 big weapons that is going to jump attack you. There's always one guy spamming spells with a Moon Veil, and there's always one guy with the Rivers of Blood who's just going to keep hitting L2. And that's like every gank invasion ever. And I hate those invasions, and I've run into them at all levels recently. This character's level 60. He ran into straight up gank squads like 5 times. Like 5 times in a row yesterday. Like it was pretty insane. And the meta recently has been, if you want casual fun invasions, you should go to 200 because then you'll be invading people in New Game Plus. I've had multiple builds, new builds recently that are at 200, and I feel like it's about 50-50 at this time because I feel like that sort of 200 meta kind of got leaked a little bit, and I feel like all the gank squads leveled up to 200. Just what I think happened in that situation. But 166 has been really fun for me. That actually hits the meta range, and it hits a little bit above the meta range too. So you're hitting like a 140 to 200, and that seems to be working out pretty well. Level 60 invasions have been pretty fun, and then level 200s, I feel like that's where a lot of the gank squads are recently. But you'll still get really good invasions too. It's about 50-50 there. Nevertheless, I'm going to take this guy to 90 plus 20 smithing plus 8 somber, I think it is. And I'm going to just, you know, see what level 90 is like, because I feel like this character would be really fun at level 90. So I'm going to try him at level 90. Fire pot, roll catch. So yeah, that's my plans for him. I need to find like a good Ash of War for the Rusted Anchor. If you guys know of any good Ash of Wars with Rusted Anchor, then let me know. I do know about the piercing damage talisman that buffs the weapon, the Rusted Anchor, because technically it is a great axe that has piercing damage on it, which is insane. Because it gets boosted by the piercing talisman or whatever. I don't have it yet, but I will go get it next time that I do this character. And he'll have the you know, that talisman, and his damage will be really good on the anchor after that. Right now it's kind of just heavy infused with no boost to the talisman or anything like that. I might even boost it with fire. The thing is, I've been really hesitant about doing that because a couple reasons. One, it's an anchor. So like, where's the fire coming from, right? Like, I know it's kind of stupid to say this, and I know it's a stupid reason, but like, it's an anchor, it goes in the water, there's no reason why it should be on fire. And that's kind of why I've held back on infusing it with fire. Even though fire would give it the most kind of damage, especially on this kind of build. At this level, I'm not sure about 90. 90 would probably be more beneficial to put heavy on it. So I might do that, but I'm not really sure. This guy ran away from me for 2 whole minutes, so that's kind of why I had to split the clip. But yeah, there he is, running to his death, and then he gets roll caught and dies. Goodbye, sir. Anyway, guys, that's the video for today. I hope my rambling didn't dissuade you guys from the content. If I talk too much, let me know. I feel like I was kind of lost in this video because there was just so much content to go over, and I don't know, man. I don't do good when I have to talk for too long. Anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Here's all my stats, all my fashion, stuff like that. If you want to copy me, go ahead. I don't really care. Just, you know, credit me somewhere, I guess. Not really, but it would be nice. Yeah. Like and subscribe, all that fun stuff. Fare thee well. Take care of yourselves. Have a good one. And peace out, everybody.